It's instead of all the stuff that's been happening in the last couple of days.
No, Tom, that's a great question, and I think it's sitting on all of our shoulders. Like I got a text before I went on that all our tests from Monday were negative. That's how I live, and we live every 2 days. Now, our group will test tomorrow, and then we'll test Friday evening in East Lansing and Saturday morning in East Lansing. Now that's just our test. Michigan State's doing their thing, and they play a game tomorrow night. And so when you really try and wrap your arms around that, you can find a lot to worry about. And I think as coaches, we do. I have tried to, with our guys, just deal with the day-to-day. Again, that we're in practicing and doing things together is so healthy, but we do need to play other people. And I know there's a little bit of a movement out there of, oh, shut it down. And we need to kind of try and do this. Football has, soldiered through this thing with casualties being obviously games canceled or postponed. We need to really keep moving and try this thing. And I'm hopeful that we can play one game Saturday night against a really good team, and then we'll see where we are on Sunday and hopefully can move forward.
All right, we're going to go to Finn from the AP. Go ahead, Finn.
Hey, Mike, I wonder if you had a chance to talk with Tom Izzo since his diagnosis, and what has he told you about this and his feelings about what you just told us?
Well, I did text with him a little bit. The first week he was laid up, and it's great to hear that he's back. I know that he is back this week with his team. Good timing. One of the things he said, and it kind of struck me a little bit, and I relayed it to my staff, was he said, I really have a great staff, a veteran staff who's been with me. So when this does happen, I'm really confident they can help me. And, I thought to myself, and I relayed it to my staff, I feel the same way. Rod Balanis has been with me 21 years. Ryan Humphrey, has become a veteran and really probably one of the hot head coaching candidates in the country, if you want to be honest. And Scott Martin, has been with us, and guys that have played in the system and can teach the system, and I feel if we get to that position, and we probably all going to get to that position, that you have great help. But I know he felt really good. He did not talk about, symptoms with me, but he said he felt really good about his team and his staff moving forward.
All right, we're going to go to Mr. Priester. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, here I am now. I'm having glitches here in the system last couple of days.
That's all good.
Okay, Mike, I've got my COVID story. What happens when you call your doctor for an appointment and he has COVID?
No,
it just happened. It just happened to me a minute ago.
That just happened. Now there it is right there. That's the world we're in, right, Tim?
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I do have basketball questions, starting with what players have improved a particular aspect of their games that they have focused on since last year?
Well, I'd start with Prentice Hub and leadership. I think it's clearly his team and his voice to quarterback, and, coming in this year, confident rotating up to do that. That's an area what really has stuck out for us. And as you saw, we named the rest of our captains, and, I've been really pleased with our two fifth-year seniors, how they've helped set the tone. And Cormac Ryan I've never had a player while sitting out in residence last year like he did on the transfer rule be more engaged and have a voice and an impact that way. He's so pure that way. And his teammates voted him captain, which is, kind of almost unheard of. But I think the leadership thing there with Hub and has been really glaring. The one thing, and I may have mentioned it last time, is, and you haven't seen us yet, physically our bodies look really good. You know, guys are older, stronger. They found places to strength train when we didn't do summer school. If you look at, we have been back in training in the weight room with Tony Wasielewski since August 15th.
Right.
We've had a longer preseason than ever before with the semester starting earlier. So I really like Durham's body, 238 pounds. Lashevsky's body, 232 pounds. Hub, you know, better, Goodwin, Cormac Ryan, you know, those guys, they've grown, you know, and you know, it's the natural duration of being a junior and being older there. Two things that have stuck out to me that you wait for in our program: Goodwin and Lashevsky's voices, naturally quiet guys, a little more vocal now, you know, and we could never get them to talk enough on defense and communicate, and so their voices have stepped up, you know, in that sense. So, you know, those are, you know, from kind of the main nucleus, you know, that's kind of some observations.
Okay, next up, we're gonna go to Darin Pritchett. If I can get him to talk here. There we go.
Coach, two-part question for you. First off, could you offer just a couple of thoughts on the skill set of Blake Wesley, a kid you're getting next year? And also, are there a couple of things you're kind of intrigued to learn about your team? You've seen them in practice, but maybe a couple of things you hope to pick up in the game against Michigan State.
Well, we are so thrilled, Darin, to have Blake join us. I just think it's a great story. City of South Bend young man. Certainly JR added to that package is really cool for our area and our community. But, you know, you've been watching Blake Wesley since he was 13 years old around here. He was a camper, came to our basketball camp. Many of you saw some of the camp pictures. The one with Demetrius Jackson is just classic. It's touching. I got goosebumps when that one came out Friday. And Demetrius actually sent it to me, as I think he sent it to Tom and some other people on Friday. But a big, long guard who has a feel for the game. He's a playmaking guard. He really sees the floor and can pass it. You know, the ability to slash to the basket with his athletic ability, great length, and he hasn't had to do it a whole lot yet. But I think what makes him really valuable as a freshman is his ability to defend. He can really get in a stance and guard you. And so, you know, it's just for us, I'm really thrilled to have him coming to us. Again, the JR, Blake Wesley, the local story it's a great story, you know, for our program. Two guys, and they were the focus of our recruiting for 2 years, maybe longer, quite frankly, in this class. These were the ones we focus on. Now you add Elijah Taylor to that class, who we will redshirt after we do the procedure on his ankle, a powerful frontline, you know, rebounder. And, you know, you've got a big body in that class, and that I kind of like that class right now. And, you know, who knows what's going to happen on the transfer market when all those rules change. And you asked me about, what was the other one, Darin? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Darin.
Just a thought on, you've seen this team in practice.
Yeah.
Now you get to see them in a game. Are there a couple of things you're intrigued to find out about?
Well, I am a little nervous. There's been no exhibition. We have not had any refs in, you know, to ref even an inter squad scrimmage like we used to. That has just not felt to be safe. And so our first time we put the uniforms on and have real refs are going to be in East Lansing on Saturday nights against a heck of a team. I'm banking on our maturity. I'm banking on, this is a nucleus, at least those 5 starters. And I'd add Jogo coming off the bench. These guys have played a lot of college basketball. They've been around, they've been in big games. I know it's been a while, but I think poise and handling tough stretches, those are the areas we're going to talk about starting probably tomorrow, where we have to, you know, be calm and understand there's going to be really tough stretches that our leadership must get us through, and our poise must get us through.
All right, next up is Hayden Adams from the Observer. Go ahead, Hayden.
Thanks. Hey, Coach. A couple weeks ago, you gave us your starting lineup, or what it would have been back then. Just looking at your depth overall, that's been an issue the last couple of years. I remember there was a period where you didn't even have 10 guys to go 5-on-5 in practice. So, how do you feel about your depth this year, especially with a guy like Jogo, who you said has a lot of experience, but this is probably going to be his first significant playing action this year. Just how confident do you feel, especially with this murders row schedule that you put together?
Well, I think, Jogo will have to play and has been playing in big games. I talked about our five, and I think then coming off the bench, you have, Matt Zona we felt very good about what Matt Zona has given us. Frontline guy, physical, knows how to play. And what I love about Matt Zona is he knows he's playing with veteran guards and he doesn't screw them up. He plays his role. He screens for them. He passes it to him, and then he can make an open shot, and he's got good footwork around the bucket. He plays a little older than he is, and he's 250, and so we'll need him, and he'll have a key role for us. Jogo and him off the bench probably have been the best two, and then Tony Sanders is starting to come, an athletic slashing wing, the young man from Miami. There's number 8. We'll need him. And really number 9, as we head to East Lansing and into this schedule that you mentioned, is Elijah Morgan. I don't really look at, and I know our players don't look at Elijah Morgan as a walk-on. He's a heck of a young guard. And now it's his second year in our program. Him and Hough have battles in practice that are classic, and they're standoffs some days. And so there's our 9. Now, we're still working on Trey Wirtz. And you know what? I'm a little more hopeful. I just think at the end of the day, that like these young men that are still not eligible are going to get there to make sure games aren't canceled. And so I don't know if it's going to be by Saturday with Wirtz, but we're going to keep working on him. And then that gives you, there's 10 guys, and all 10 could play in a game and would play. In a game. Of course, I was kidding with my staff the other day. They said, well, how many guys? I saw where football said, well, at 53, I think the Pac-12, you got to have 53 guys to play a game. And they said, well, what do you think it should be in basketball? And they also, well, it should be 7, don't you think? I said, well, we're perfect. We only play 6.5 anyways. No problem.
All right. We're going to move to Patrick Engel from Blue and Gold.
Hey, Mike, a couple things for you here. I believe I read somewhere that the ACC is going to have everybody wear wearable GPS things to try to help minimize contact tracing absences or 2-week shutdowns. I'm just kind of curious what you've been told about that and how you think that might help avoid 2-week shutdowns. And then just what your reaction was to Saturday or to Tennessee's news and just kind of how you looked at as far as likelihood of that game being played.
Yeah, as you know, the contract tracing is this real tough thing to manage. We will be in those. I am not sure when we will be in those. Those are coming, and those will help us with the contract tracing, which is such a key. You mentioned Tennessee, and somebody asked me about Tennessee yesterday. I mean, I don't know the status of that game now. I mean, you're kind of waiting to see if that's a game we can play. I hope we can play it, but we have to start thinking a little bit of plan B. Do we have to try and find a different game on that weekend of December 5th or 6th if Tennessee can't go? And really, that's kind of where I think college basketball is going to be through this non-league situation. It could be, scramble mode. I hope they can come. Maybe there'll be enough time in their shutdown to get back to practice midweek next week and play us on Friday. I would be flexible to even move the game to Saturday or Sunday, the 5th or the 6th, just to get the game in. I know we play Ohio State, I believe, on Tuesday, but to get the game in, we've reached out to them and said, look, if Saturday or Sunday works better than Friday the 4th to get this game in, we're flexible. Because we just got to get games in, but the GPS, pieces when they get here, they've been explained to us. I think will really help us and help my trainer sit there and track and then be able to give things to our doctor when there is a positive test.
Okay, we're going to move on to Austin Hough from Goshen News. Go ahead.
Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure, Zooms, you never know. Quick question. What are you drinking there?
I got a little Diet Coke working today.
Nice. And my actual serious question, you are opening on the road against another high profile opponent. This is the second straight year you're doing that. Obviously went to North Carolina last year. Is there a different energy around the building when you're opening up road game, top ranked opponent, and instead of playing like a JUCO school, for lack of a better term?
I think so. No, it's a great question. And I think for our nucleus, who's now older and we feel have gotten better and have been in a weird world and have done everything asked of them through the fall semester, that they're excited to go compete against a really good team on national TV on the road. It just is good for all. And so I am praying we get to Saturday night in one piece, Michigan State as well, and we get to play basketball for 2 hours. And I think it's extremely positive. One of the things I told our team the other day, I said, fellas, everybody's talked about our schedule. I said, I pieced that schedule together at the end after watching you practice 15 times, through the preseason. I like my team. I wouldn't schedule like that unless I watched us for 15 practices and said, we got something here. We're older. We understand it. The addition of Ryan, we know who we are. We know how to play. There are some weaknesses we're going to have to work on. And my God, we're going to know them through December, aren't we, with this schedule? But you don't put this together unless you look and go, I love my team. I think we got a chance. But to have a big one out of the gate, and then for them to look at the rest of that December, which again, I hope stays pretty much intact, is so motivating for everybody. Coaches, it's just disappointing we can't have our fans in the building. We'd have some great home crowds for Tennessee, Ohio State, Duke, Virginia, but that's the way it is.
All right, next up, we're going to go to timothyomalley from Irish Illustrated.
Mike, I wanted to stay with the rotation and the unique situation where you mentioned having 7 guys to play. Do you almost have to force feed minutes for Sanders and even Morgan and Zona? I don't mean at Michigan State, but as this goes along in December, because they might start at Kentucky or against Duke.
Yeah, no, I think it's Tim, it's an interesting way of thinking that, I think our 6th and 7th man are pretty set in Nick and Zona. And then it's Tony and Elijah. And you can't just say, well, maybe we'll get to them, and maybe I'll use Elijah Morgan. I mean, he's got to play and he's got to be ready to play, and he's going to play. And as I mentioned earlier, he's a good player. It's not just throwing a stopgap measure in there. So, with the unknown of the Wirtz situation still pending, I look at 9 bodies, Tony and Elijah, and make it 8 and 9. Those are the guys, that we're starting this thing with on Saturday and beyond. And so, you're also trying to be smart in practice too. We've practiced a lot, we've been in the gym a lot. And so now I need to keep guys healthy, the other way, the old fashioned way. I don't need any injuries. Carmody, maybe he comes back at Christmas, we're thinking, and gives us something, and we add his body. We know Elijah Taylor is not going to be part of it. Maybe Wirtz joins the party here in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but it's also a matter of, in practice, all right, guy, I need these 9. Like, we need these 9 guys as we get into this thing.
All right, we're going to go back to Tom Noie.
Like, maybe you take a minute before Saturday's game and just kind of think of where the program was the last time you went to East Lansing. Like, this is a chance for the program to come full circle as far as you had so much going for you then, and it kind of all fell apart after that Michigan State game. Could the opposite be true, where you go up there and you beat a ranked team on opening night and really have that slingshot you into a really good season?
At times I've thought about that a lot. I thought, that is kind of where some karma really started to change for us. We couldn't have been riding any higher from the previous years. We win Maui, but as we know, that was the night there was discomfort in Bonzie Colson's foot. And, we also got our butts kicked by a really good team. But the discomfort in Bonzie Colson's foot turned into the broken foot, which we really, never recovered from, even though we almost snuck into the tournament, not having him most of the year. And then we spiraled, as far as with injuries and playing this junior class as freshmen. And really the first time I've seen us kind of turn it back and change the karma a little bit was after Florida State, where we kind of started to show some life. And I think we were 9-4, and especially that current junior class as sophomores then started to look like ACC players. So yeah, I have thought about that a lot. That could be a really neat story to maybe come full circle.
All right, back to Tim Priester.
Like, where are you collectively on defense, number one, and two, not so much as it applies to Michigan State, because I'm sure you'll just drive up that day, but as you move into the ACC schedule, how will your travel plans be altered?
We're better defensively because older players talk more. I mentioned Wasielewski and Goodwin. Our communication is better because we're older and we're veterans, and they played a lot together. And so they know how to guard together and talk through things better. I still think, the physicalness that we'll see night in and night out is going to be something we've got to keep an eye on. And we always mix in some zone, and there's times we play zone for a real long time. Our rebounding, our defensive rebounding, which, you've heard me say, I think is going to be a real key for us. We don't have a guy getting 12 rebounds a game in Mooney. Who's going to do that for us? I don't know if it's going to be one guy, but I think we have some people that can all get up on that backboard and help us. We will travel on Friday to East Lansing because we need to test up there Friday night and Saturday morning. So we will not travel the day of the game. We will go and get into our hotel routine. Now, meals at night all together, not the same. Team meetings, not the same. All of that will change. We will still charter when we need to. The Syracuse game will be the first time we will use those smaller planes we use to charter. Our travel party is smaller, so we can spread out on buses and we can spread out on planes more. When we're on buses, we cannot eat on the bus. Face masks are going to be on. When we're not playing a game, the face mask will be on all the time. And I give our guys credit. Our habits have been really good in that department. That has been a learned habit. No one's fighting us on that. And so, we'll venture into the travel schedule, more. We decided to bus to Kentucky. It's not that bad a bus ride. I'm also sensitive to our budget. And given that we're not selling tickets and a charter is expensive, we probably will even bus to Pittsburgh because we have a week before we play again after the pit gate in January. And so I'm trying to be conscious of budget here too, in the midst of this. So we have a plan, we have protocols. The ACC medical group has communicated with the Jim Frawleys and Harold Swanigans of every program to say, these will be the protocols as we travel. Like, for example, Saturday night, why do we need to be in the locker room before the game in tight spaces? There's no one in the gym anyways. Heck, if we need to talk, we can just huddle up around the bench. It's not like it's going to be loud or crowded or people could overhear what you're talking about. I'm going to be sitting on the bench an hour before the game. Are we going to go in at halftime? Do we need to go in at halftime? I'm trying to figure out these close quarters, what do we really need? Why do we need those? And so Saturday night will be a trial, to kind of see how we do it. We've already practiced with the spaced out benches. We have those in our practice facility. And when I talk to the team, I don't really huddle with them anymore. I rarely get them around me. They sit in their spaced out seats, kind of as you saw the NBA benches. They're just like the NBA benches in the bubble, front row, back row, spaced out. And they sit there and they have their space, and that's how I address them. And that'll be timeouts. You remember timeouts? We used to huddle the chair. We're not doing that. That's too close. So it's just a different way of thinking. And Saturday night will be, a trial basis for us how to do the mechanics of this.
Okay, Coach, looks like we got 3 more questions to knock out here. So we're going to go back to Hayden Adams from the Observer.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned the 2017 Michigan game coming full circle to here. Obviously, your goal is to get back to the NCAA tournament. If you want to play prognosticator a little bit, what do you like about this team? Because you said you really like this team. What does this team hang its hat on to get back to the big dance? And is there any chance that we get to see you with your shirt off again, like we did after Maui in 2017?
But, the thing is, think about it. 1 year from today, I sure hope this vaccination pulls off, because I'd be in Maui right now getting ready for game 2 in the Maui Classic. And my God, we need that to happen. When I saw the snow this morning, I thought of that, so maybe, you have to wait but I'm always ready to take my shirt off after a big win. No, we've got a chance, Hayden. We really have a chance. We've got a group. We feel we can get back in the tournament, and that is very realistic. We have got a group that knows how we play. They play the right way. We've got some offensive firepower. We've got really good guards. The Ryan Hub combo, I think, is going to be really fun for people to watch. Those guys play off of each other. Goodwin is older and better. Wasielewski is older and better. If Durham plays 27 minutes, what are his numbers going to be? Shouldn't he be a double guy? And he's going to get that opportunity, now. So we feel we have the ability to do that. We know our schedules are bare, but that can be a good thing. Who's going to have, and hopefully we play most of these 27 games. I cannot believe anyone in the country will have a better strength of schedule than us. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go 20-7 to get in when you have a strength of schedule that is, staring us in the eyes starting Saturday night. So I'm really excited about moving forward. I know what we bit off with the schedule. We're going to work through this thing. But, when you have a schedule like that, there's always another great opportunity, and a scout to get out there. And again, I get back to, I guess the net will be used or whatever, what strength of schedule wise by mid-January, who's going to have a stronger schedule than us by mid-January if we can play these? I don't think anybody is.
All right, Patrick Engel from Blue and Gold.
And Mike, to look at Saturday's game as far as the on-court stuff, Michigan State losing a couple of guys who were kind of the center of their identity, but from when you watch the guys who are coming back from last year's team and just thinking about what the core tenets of Tom's teams are, what are you expecting to see and be ready for?
Well, they do what they do, and they do it annually. And you're right, they lost 2 men. But they still have really great talent. They run, especially at home. Their transition game, you got to try and get that under control. We couldn't control it last time we were there. We never got it under control. They were bearing down on us. And then when you're playing man-to-man defense, they screen the heck out of you. They really work to get their shooters stuff. And then they've always been a great rebounding team. So my mind goes to, can we keep it to one and done? So when I think about them and I talk to our team, can we stop transition? And can we keep it to one and done and they don't play volleyball on the backboard? I think those are really keys for us defensively. And then we're going to have to get into our flow offensively. We're really good when we run. We're trying to play faster. We played quicker, really starting last year, and that's helped Hough and Ryan, get down the floor. Can we get some rebounds and get out and get some buckets and not have to play against their half-court defense?
Okay, Tom Noie's got the last one. Go ahead, Tom.
Just two quick ones, Mike. I know a lot of the guys moved off campus this year. Now that the campus is basically closed till February, do they go back to the Morris Inn like you would do during Christmas break? And then how big of a proponent were you for the dress code this year?
Well, they are staying in their apartments and they're loving it. All of a sudden these underclassmen who knew the rule of not getting off campus, like my juniors, Hough, Wasielewski, and Goodwin there, if there was a pleasant surprise in the midst of COVID, it was, hey, you don't have to live in the dorm, so those guys are off. And really, they won't go to a hotel. They're going to stay in their setting. And we moved our freshmen off with about 3 weeks to go in the semester. And I don't think I'll ever move. They were in the dorms, as was Elijah Morgan. So we had 4 guys in the dorms. I'm not going to put them back in the dorms in February. We're going to keep them off. We've kind of created our bubble now. We've got some privacy. Our guys have done a great job using those apartments to stay to themselves and keep our team healthy. As far as the dress code, Tom, I am a big proponent of this. If we could ride this forward and do away with the suits a year from now and vote that in. And you know what? I sense on the ACC head coaches Zooms that we had throughout the summer on Wednesdays, I sense there's a lot of coaches kind of in the casual mode. So I'm all about it. I got quarter zip depth and golf slack, Under Armour golf slack depth, and plenty of Under Armour sneakers. I'm gonna be fine.
Okay, we're gonna end it on that, Coach. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. You guys be safe. Talk soon.